This is Martin Lennon, and this is Mantalk here on learmedia.tv. Alongside me, as always, is Mr. Pat Barry. Hi, Pat.
Hi Martin, how's it going?
Yeah, things are grand, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about today a few topics, like starting about with men who do men visit the doctors or do they need to be nudged to go see the doctor? What do you think, Pat?
Well, I know I'm much older than you. I probably double your age, Martin. And in my own case, I can only speak about myself. I have personally speaking, which is a fault of mine until recently, I've never gone to a doctor except I had to go, which is terrible. You know, when you think about it, you know, that I honestly think that it should not. You can't make things mandatory. We've got away from that, but people should be encouraged to go to their doctor at least once a year. And I know in saying that people will laugh at me and say, "Is the man mad?" But I know an awful lot of men. They live around me. They never go to a doctor except they have a sore tooth or a pain that they can't get rid of. So going once a year would be a minimum requirement, maybe twice a year, but certainly once a year to. After all, you must take your motor car to get it to the MOT every year. There's a reason for that. We have working pieces like a motor car, you know, our body, our heart, our lungs, our all our organ, liver, kidneys, everything, our breathing, our eyesight, our hearing, our teeth, everything, you know, because mouth cancer, throat cancer, all of those, neck cancer, which has become much prevalent now in men as well. Not as serious, but nevertheless, it's there. So these are all things that can be picked up early, like prostate cancer, for instance. You get it early, it's no problem. It's no big deal. I don't mean it's a big deal for people, but it can be cured. So it's one of those diseases that need not be fatal. But to go back to what you said, Martin, anytime I visit, the occasion I visit a doctor's surgery, well, now in these times to be, but generally speaking, you meet very few men there. You know, I don't know about young people like yourself. How do you feel? But do you go to the doctor regularly, or I don't know? Maybe we should be encouraged to do so in school, even.
Yeah, I mean, just like, yeah, probably people should go to the doctors once, twice a year. It's like a pit stop in Formula One. Like, yeah, we have to, check the tires and
Yeah.
etc. But no, like one of the last times I went to the doctor, I had to go because I had shingles. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
was just like my back was real stiff, and I had to go to the doctor and get some cream for it. Like, I had to put that on for a few weeks. Like, so I really had to go. Like, but I suppose as well, cold and flus and some minor stuff. Sure, people can go to the chemist or they can go now to the supermarket. People, if they're not too bad, they'll go to the chemist or your local supermarket or shop to get items. They need.
I mean,
Fine. Go on,
you
yeah.
you're dead right there because I mean, there's a lot of there can be too much self-diagnosis going on with people as well online, you know, and saying, "Oh, this is what I have, and I need this. I need the snake oil for it." And off you go. But I honestly think there's a wider picture as well. You know, the cost of going to the doctor is a very serious issue for lots and lots and lots of people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You're talking about €60 now to visit a doctor. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you're, you know, out of work, if you're retired out of work, or if you're looking for work, €60 out of, I don't know what the social welfare is now, it's around €205, one of the rates, all right? €60 out of €205 is an awful lot of money to visit your doctor. And don't be coming back and telling me everybody has a medical card. They don't have a medical card, everybody. And you still have to pay something anyway. Because then when you go to the doctor, if there's a serious or an issue with you, what does the doctor do? He'll tell you this is what's wrong with your Pat. He'll take your 60 quid. Pat then has to traipse over to the chemist, the local legal drug pushers, I call them, to the chemist shop. And they will mix up this concoction in the back for you and charge you another 30 or 40 quid. So you're talking about 100, 120 euro for one visit. Now that to me is one of the inhibiting factors for people, not alone men, but generally going to the doctor. I think it's something that has to be really, really looked at, Martin. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, well, like you see in Northern Ireland, up the road from us, sure they have the NHS. Like the NHS is like free to the public and just based on need instead of what you're earning, you know. And I mean, like we're talking about United Ireland's down here. Like, I mean, if we want United Ireland, I mean, a lot of them even I listened to some of their talkback radio and William Crawley on BBC, and
Yeah,
they're talking about the women and men ringing up. They're the people even they're more like, concerned about the NHS. What about an NHS? Like, what happens if we have United Ireland? You know, like that's I think we're going to have to go in that direction as well because you know it's just better all around. Like what the Labour government did in the 1940s in the UK was a revolution.
phenomenal.
Like it was
You know,
brilliant.
I know when I landed there in 1972, I mean, the NHS, people can say whatever they like about it. It's a fantastic system. It's treatment for everybody, irrespective of who you are, what your circumstances are. Go in, you get treated. The same in most countries in Europe. This country is appalling, appalling, not alone for men's health, but for health in general. Please don't get sick in the Republic of Ireland. You're flummoxed if you do. We don't want to be alarmist, but you are. Now, the other thing about it is, all we have in Ireland is a 9-to-5 system. That's what we have. That's how we're running our health system. And that's endemic in our system. And until that issue, amongst many others, are tackled, there's no point in throwing another billion after another billion. That's only my opinion, Martin. I don't know what you think of it, the way it is organized.
Oh yeah, for certain. Like I mean, you have to have the consultants working a 6-day week anyway, if not 7-day week, and you just hire more
Yeah,
consultants.
yeah.
I mean, you're gonna have the government is gonna have to be stronger here. Like, do you know what I mean? I know there's strong unions here, like, and I'm all for unions and rights. At the same time, the government needs to like they're running the business here. They're running the hospitals. A lot of them. There's only like 20 private hospitals. So, the government runs most of the hospitals, and they're going to have to hire more people and do stuff like what I mean to get down the waiting list to like 100,000 on a waiting list. Come off it, like what I mean. You need someone in there to get like as Michael O'Leary said before, like give him 5 years and he'll sort it out in 5 years.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for it. We have 4.96 million people in the whole of the Republic. Just hard to consider that it's a tiny population. There's that many in the greater Manchester area, Manchester City area, and they're fine. They'll be able to look after all right with one authority. So there you are. We're over administered, Martin. I think we're utterly over administered, and our hospitals, I think are just the way the system administratively is run is a national disgrace. And as you said, they're talking about a United Ireland. If you and I were living in Northern Ireland,
Yeah.
we certainly would not be clapping our hands for a United Ireland when it comes to health anyway. There's no doubt about that,
Oh yeah, there's a lot of work to be done on that. I think it can be done. It definitely can be done. Like we can have a better system for all of us, especially now if you have more local rule. Listen, you're going to have just touching on it briefly, like the mayor of Limerick now, and he'll or she will have a €4 million fund, and they can help out a lot of issues locally here.
But the mayor, they're supposed to hold the election for the mayor of Limerick at the last quarter of this year, Martin.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before we came on air, and I hope to go ahead because the people voted for it, and an awful lot of the time people's vote and people's ideas can be ignored. But I see that there's one TD in Limerick, Willie O'D, who is hoping that we get the proper candidates to run for the election in Limerick. I was reading his piece. Was it out of the Leader, Limerick Leader?
It was the Irish Independent during the week.
Sorry, yes, Willie O'D gave his opinion. Not that anybody is interested in Willie's opinion in many quarters, but we have to admit it was in the paper. And Willie said that he'd be worried that some far-right people, Nigel Farage types, might run. Wonder what's he talking about himself, Martin, do you think?
Well, yeah, he was saying Nigel Farage types or oddballs, all sorts of characters. But that's democracy, That's democracy. That's the beauty of it. Anybody can run for the mayoral election, and
Well,
yeah,
I
we,
personally speaking would be encouraging as many people as possible to seriously get their name down in the ballot paper and make it a very, very exciting race. Spread it out. You know, I hope it'll happen, Martin. Anyway, I hope it will happen. But getting back to men's health, I think that is there enough of support systems? I know there is. I mean, there's the doctors for everybody. I know that doctors will say they're for women or they're for everybody, but does education about your health? I mean, I didn't have any education. I didn't have any talks about my health when I was in secondary school growing up, Martin, about going to the doctor, how important it is to get your health, going to the clinic and all that. I don't know how it was for your era growing up. Did people come in and speak to your class about public health and how important it is for the citizens to make sure of their general health? Was there any of that going on in the schools?
no, like, at school, like I guess the same was for you. Like when you're in primary school, you had, I don't know, you had teachers checking your height, and you'd even like we had the MMR vaccine, I think, at school as well. Like I think someone came in, a nurse or something, but it wasn't much talk about it really. Just checking your height at school for some reason, and then it's the MMR vaccine. Nothing in secondary school, but now we have the culture now of mental health awareness and
Yes.
well-being, and like in the last 20 years now, everyone's gone on about mental illness or mental health. It's like well, people are just talking about that more openly. Like, I mean, that was always there, but what was happening years ago was just that you just hide people away, like as we found out, not just in Ireland but elsewhere. Like, I mean, there was even jokes talked about St. Joseph's Hospital here in Limerick, and whatever. Anyway, but like there was always mental illness and mental health known and talked about. We're just being more. It's more open now. It's more mainstream now, and
It
talk
is.
generally.
And you're right. There's a lot more visibility of people. There's a lot more care taken, I think, and attention paid to the issue, the whole issue of from the spectrum from deep depression to bipolar, all the different elements that go along with what they call looking after your mental health. But really and truly, there's an awful lot of problems in our society that impinges on our mental health, whether you're living on your own, whether you're living in a house, whether you're renting, whether you're seeing. And then, of course, there's the whole area of, I was in Limerick today at, I don't know what time to us, 20 past one. I was down getting a few messages downtown and Duns in the city. And I walked from there to Mallow Street and I met two men and a woman. Now, one of the men was absolutely shattered from drink, from alcohol, and was in an awful state looking for money. And what can you do with someone like that, And I met another younger man then, and he was sitting with one of those coffee cups, asking for money, And I'm just wondering. It was a beautiful day actually, so that was one plus. They weren't wet, and there was a lady then just before I turned the corner into Catherine Street, sitting with a mug as well, begging for money. And I'm just wondering. We talked about this before. Why is that? I know there are a certain amount of people that if you had 100,000 houses in the morning, they wouldn't live in them. I know that. But we're not talking about those small elements. We're talking about the generality of people. I never met anybody who doesn't want to sleep in the bed.
Yeah, I think there is places for them, Pat, but what's happening is like they're chucked out in the morning time and they're told to come back in the evening time as well. There's certain places where they rest their head at night. That's why you keep seeing the same familiar faces, as you go down some of the main streets, not in Limerick here. Like, so I mean, they do have places to stay at times, but I mean, in certain places in town, it's just that they put them out in the morning times as well. They should be able to stay there all day, just leave them alone, like, and just help them. Like, I know of someone, man, here in Limerick, they had a nurse and a kind of a doctor helping him. Yeah, he was in accommodation, but they used to come around to his apartment and help him out, like, you know.
Yeah,
So and that so he's not chucked out on the street at 9 o'clock in the morning, told to come back at 9 o'clock at night, you know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's terrible, isn't it?
but see, I was going to think there as well, like cinema culture as well goes into mental health. I was just watching a video last night. Mark Kermode does his film reviews, and he's talking about a movie recently called Music, and it was about two women actually, about a woman and a girl, and they're talking about autistic actors using autistic actors for autistic film roles. You know what I mean? Not just actors, but autistic actors.
Oh,
There's a big hullabaloo about it because they don't feel that they portray the characters correctly, you know. But there's the you know the movie
yes.
Rain Man with Dustin Hoffman. You know, that's like one part of autism, but it's not all parts of autism, you know. And he's kind of
I thought I'd have mixed feelings myself now about that because it's another part in the film, you know. And obviously, if you have an autistic actor, you know, who's trained doing it, you know, you don't have to have a tractor driver to drive a tractor in a film, you know.
No, but you can learn to do that. Like what they do, like in Rambo, and John Sylvester Stallone learned how to use the kind of the bow and arrows and use certain types of weaponry. You know,
Yes,
he trained for about 12 weeks, like, but you have to do something like to portray it. Like, you know, you'd have to do that. Like, but you don't have to have. Yeah, for certain. You have to get it correct though. You know what I mean? You do have to get it correct. The certain type of autism. Like there's a video I put up last night on my Facebook page called "Listen," and there's a kind of a video with autistic people talking about, but like it's like different roles as well. I mean, you what like Russell Crowe did autism role in A Beautiful Mind, you know.
did, and he did it very well, I thought. And the same in wasn't there that film with the young lad with was it Mercury Rising? No, that film with the young lad in it who, well, I think he was autistic as well, with Bruce Willis.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not sure if it's Sixth Sense or something like that, or there's Mercury
Yeah,
Rising that movie as well. Yeah, I know
yeah.
that one.
But I think that Dustin Hoffman was brilliant in that film. Brilliant to put across and portray, you know, that particular type of person who would be afflicted, not afflicted, but who would have that condition. So I thought he was very good, you know. I wouldn't mind having him inside the casino with me, counting the cards.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. A friend of mine was asking me about poker movies. Yeah, like there's that one. There's a few more of them, like
The
rounders as
great
well.
scene,
Like yeah.
one of the great scene, like when Tom Cruise's character, he was shuffling the cards with him. Do you remember?
At the table. Yeah, yeah.
And then he realized I have gold dust here with me.
And I was yeah. That was funny, like, but we're leading on to that. Like, I think we have a few things on this day in history as well. Some actors like Jackie Gleason and
Jackie Gleason, you know, we were talking about him before we came on here.
Yeah.
But no, how it came up, I think Smokey and the Bandit was the play. It was on one of the Film 4, I think, during the week, you know, and then of course you'd have all the
Hustler. But you were talking about his background. Tell us about his family.
Both his parents are Irish. You know, his mum was from Mayo, I think, and his dad is from Fermanagh. They emigrated to the United States, both of them, not together, and they married obviously in the United States. And Jackie can truly say he's Irish American. You know, no doubt about it. You know, no doubt about it. I mean, he struggled hard as well, like, but I thought he was just very good. You know?
Yeah, he was a comedian and actor. Like he was supposed to be William Friedkin, the guy who directed The French Connection.
Yes.
He talked about him as well. Like he was trying to get him for the Gene Hackman role, Popeye Doyle.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he tried a few guys. He tried Jimmy Breslin, but Jimmy Breslin couldn't drive. He couldn't drive a car. Like, do you know what I mean? He needed him for the car chase.
Oh yeah.
Your man thought the movie was too violent, Jackie Gleason, and he didn't like he didn't want to be doing the car. He could drive, but he didn't want to do the car chase. You know, the car scene with their man that chasing the Spanish fella, French guy.
Well, of course, that's synonymous now with Gene Hackman. That's Popeye.
Yeah, Popeye Doyle. Yeah,
that was a seminal role for him. Like, you know.
That was the 70s, wasn't it? Yeah, 1970. Yeah, like the two Roy Schreider and him kind of good cop, bad cop, like
Good.
Eddie Egan and Sonny
Huh.
Grasso. Yeah,
I mean, when he was coming down from being injected with all the drugs, they were brilliant scenes.
I think that's in the French Connection too. Like, yeah, but the French Connection, him just flying around, like just doing the,
I,
checking the guys in the bar and dressed up as Santa, running around.
that was just fantastic. And there was Jackie Gleason were going to Smokey and the Bandit.
That's a great movie. Yeah,
That was just, I don't know, one of my
and
favorites.
yeah, and chasing Burt Reynolds and
Burt Reynolds' character was brilliant. But of course, he passed away last year, was it?
he did. Yeah, he
Yes.
he was set to be cast in that Tarantino movie Once Upon a Time in America, but they gave it to Bruce Stern. Like, but Quentin wanted Burt for the movie. Like Burt was the biggest star in the 1970s. He was
He
the
wanted
biggest
Burt
movie
Reynolds
star.
for the.
There's a role in the scene when they go to the ranch when all the girls at the bunny ranch kind of there's a Bruce Stern was in it. Like he was kind of the man kind of running the ranch. It used to be an old western town, a wild
Yeah.
west in the
Bruce
movies.
Dern, of course, is another good actor, like
Yeah, he's
cracking actor.
a lot of great movies there. Like he's in one of Mark Kermode's favorite movies called Silent Running. Like, but he was in a lot of the 1960s movies. Roger Corman as well with Jack Nicholson and
Oh yeah, and had he a daughter or sister, Laura Dern?
Laura Dern. Yeah, she was in Jurassic Park and a lot of David
Yeah,
Lynch
now that
movies.
you said it, yeah, I remember her now. There's so many of them, so many. How did they all get work? But getting back to Jackie Gleason, I think he was I mean, that film, The Hustler in black and white, I loved it.
Paul Newman, yeah.
I just loved it. Paul Newman, yeah. And then, of course, as I said, we were talking about Tom Cruise it was a decent film, The Color of Money, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Martin Scorsese directed it. Like,
It was a reasonably good movie, And on this day as well, we were talking about Martin Lennon. On this day in 1941, Nashville, Tennessee, the very first FM radio station opened. I think it's in America. I didn't read it all, but it's in America. It might have been in the world, but the very first FM station was opened in 1941 in Nashville, Tennessee. Obviously, you can see the reason why. There's so much entertainment there, so much to draw on. They have. It's like New York, and it never goes to bed, never goes to sleep. Nashville,
absolutely, yeah. I mean, even Anthony Bourdain, the chef, he did an episode there. Like, it was amazing. Like Taylor Swift, the Irish American, she went there. Like, she got her family to go there and record her. Taylor Swift, yeah, the country. She recorded her early records there, like, before she kind of did the crossover to contemporary kind of music, pop, like.
There are some singers and some people that, when you hear them, you just can't listen. Obviously, I'm not a fan, but fair play to her anyway.
Oh, yeah, she came to Limerick anyway. She stayed out in Glen Castle, I think. Glen, out in the castle
there,
yeah.
She stayed out in Glen Castle.
I'm not sure where her background is. I know she's some Irish American background, that she is over here somewhere, like, and
yeah. I didn't know.
I'll find out about, but yeah. But now Nashville. Anything else happening on this day? Anything in...
Well, I mean, we just get back to the health for a minute. A thought struck me. Maybe it's something that their media should consider, and that we're part of it. Like, should consider promoting, maybe on our webpage, something about the awareness of men's health in general, but particularly men's health, and maybe formulating some kind of an awareness to be. Well, they begin in secondary school, and that's but in secondary school, And I think maybe there's something that it should be promoted now with the situation we have in Ireland. We're subject to the same regulations, so to speak, under this COVID situation, which is very, very, very. Do you find it challenging? I know, Martin. I know your circumstances, so I know that at least you are one of the lucky ones in that you can go to a job from your house, change the scenery, and go to a job and come back. So there's some kind of normality, But what about the men, particularly the men now, since Mantalk went on? What about the men who are not used to being at home 7 days and nights a week, every week? I mean, obviously for their family, we're talking about men. they'll go out to work. There's a routine that they had. There's a purpose and a reason to get up in the morning and a reason to go out to work and come home and help out and do it. But now that's gone. I'm not talking about the people that are working from home, which is a different challenge again. Can you just imagine? Like, I think to be my worst nightmare if I was working now, trying to work at home, live at home, eat at home, stay at home. Can you imagine it? No wonder. Now, the instance of suicides has been only sporadically reported around the country. And anecdotally, there are statistics to back up. We can look it up from the Galway area, where 4 people very recently committed suicide in Galway, they knew of. They went looking for the bodies. They found 3 more bodies, not of the 4 that had jumped in or had taken 3 more that they weren't aware of, which to me is, I don't even know where to start. It's so sad in a way, There's nothing being reported in the mainstream media, as one of our past friends used to describe them as the lamestream media. Remember that?
Yeah.
We won't mention who. There's no reporting of suicides anymore.
Well, I put it like this to you, Pat. I remember when I was younger, there was an area near me called the Block, right? And people used to walk, and they'd be walking and running and cycling, jogging. And as I got older, I realized now why they do that. Because you have to do that every day. Like, you kind of have to be active in outside of work as well. Like, I see a lot of men now, probably, who are in between work because of what's going on, like walking a lot more. They're actually walking their dogs more. I've seen walking, pushing prams. Well, that's been happening for a while, but there's more of that going on as well.
Where did you see a man push a pram?
Oh no, you see them, yeah. You see them I see them everywhere. Yeah, but no, there's people now, even at my place at work now, I'm seeing them in the evening time walking outside on the road, like a lot of walkers in the evening time. Absolutely, like even in the very cold weather we've had recently, a lot of men and women walking, running, cycling, jogging. I mean, there's people you have to do that. Like, you can't be sitting at home all day watching Netflix. You know what I mean? You have to get out as well. You have to go for a walk, a good hour walk, at least once a day anyway, And
you're right, Martin. And as I said, you understand, and at least you have some kind of a routine on your day, you know what I mean? Which is absolutely vital for people. I suppose that what we're suggesting is for people, it's not an easy suggestion for people who are now all together in their house, and whoever was working, no longer working either from home or their job is gone, it's finished. Those people will have to, I suppose, first of all, create their own routine, and it's not an easy thing to do, particularly when you wake up in the morning and you have nowhere to go. That's what happened to me initially when I retired. When you retire, I retired 4 years ago now from work, and that was the biggest challenge. I was still waking up every morning at a certain time, because my body was. And then it dawned on me, I've nowhere to go. All of a sudden,
yeah.
You did this automatically. You woke up, you put on the kettle. If you had to shave, you shaved, brush, whatever, and dressed yourself and had your tea, and off you went to work. Now, you wake up. Initially, in the beginning, I found it very tough. It took me probably 4 or 5 months to get into a different routine, But I had good friends, and we have this little project of ours, I had this project, but there's many more people that retired with me. They're lost because they can't meet up either. We used to have a group of retirees. We'd meet up in bunches, once a week. People who retired to keep up the contact and have a coffee and just catch up with each other once a week, which was grand. That went with COVID. All of that networking, all of that support system, all of that reliance people had, seeing God. At least I see Martin every Wednesday, I see Joe every Wednesday, I see Liam every Wednesday, that was gone. Nothing to report it. There's no point in giving money if people are alone without hope and misery. No, money won't do anything for you. It's the human contact is gone, and there's not enough attention paid to that. There's no point in dropping leaflets in my door with phone numbers on them to phone strangers. It's no good to me, Martin. I'm just making my own observation. I get loads and loads of booklets with loads of phone numbers if you want this and you want that. I don't know who these people are, you know? Why would I be phoning them? Why would I want them coming in down to my house? You know, I don't know them. I don't know what you think of that, you know?
Yeah, it's tough out there. Like, I mean, it's just, oh yeah, there's adverts on the radio as well. Like, I'll be listening to the radio and the adverts on the radio and the television as well. Like, I mean, it's just, yeah, we're just kind of lucky here now. Like, at Lear, like, we're communicating with each other and helping each other out.
Yeah.
Outside of that, like, I mean, I guess your friends are finding it tough as well. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's look, we'll just have to just hopefully all of this will end very soon. Like, and hopefully we'll just be back to normal. Like, do you know what I mean? Hopefully now for the second half of the year, you know.
I don't know, you know, we avoid talking about COVID now on programs, Martin. I know it's probably no, because we have enough of it. And I mean that in every way. We have enough of it on the media, you know. So we don't, you know, what's to talk about? You know, people are being driven to despair by some of the policies of some of the things they've done. There's no logic to it. There's no, anyway, we won't get into discussion on COVID. And we were looking too, before we finish up, Martin, in 1973, more than 200 members, I just took up this, of the American Indian movement moved on and took over the reservation at Wounded Knee. Now, people probably remember that excellent book, Bury My Heart in Wounded Knee. I think I spoke about it before, you know. And it came out in 1970. It's the story of the Native American Indians and their struggle to avoid being wiped out, for the want of a better word. And the Wounded Knee massacre was one of the many, many massacres of the Native Americans in the United States that's gone down in infamy anyway, in history. And so therefore, and as huge spiritual significance to the Native Americans, and Wounded Knee, that is. So that's why they took it over. And I know, did you see the interview I did with Dan McGovern, you know?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and he was talking about that, you know, about they have their own lands and they have some kind of autonomy, you know, over their affairs under the American Constitution, which I didn't know, which is good. But there still isn't enough attention paid to their history, their traditions, and their way of life, apparently in school books in America, according to him anyway, you know. Well, not according to him, but I know that. So but people forget sometimes we have, it's easy enough the United States of America from where we are, because when I went to school, my history stopped in 1916. I knew nothing after that. I knew nothing after that. I had to learn, pick it up, or have an interest myself in it, which I had. But I know about you, how you did Irish history in school. Of course, this is another significant year, 1921. In Irish history, yeah. The Civil War was raging, and it's just, we're in March now. To be the 1st of March next Monday. I didn't hear anything about having marking anniversary. Did you?
No, there's nothing been said about it. Like,
I don't know why.
Well, you see, too, it's about Northern Ireland as well, isn't it? 100 years of Northern Ireland as well. Like, and that's been happening recently as well. And maybe this one, they don't want to be talking about that too much. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I say, the people get confused, don't they, between the Irish Civil War and the War of Independence. You know what I mean? And they get confused with that. Like, as you see it on the Limerick Historical Society show.
They do. Yeah, that was excellent. The last episode, wasn't it? The Limerick Historical Society that the lads did.
Yeah, Tony Brown and Tom Donovan. Yeah, it was great. Like, listening to the guest they had on with them, like, and
I forget his name now.
they
Sorry,
were,
lads.
yeah, they were talking, yeah, like,
But
yeah,
he,
you
he
had like,
wrote one of the definitive books on Irish history,
that's right, yeah. And he,
700 pages.
yeah, and he was talking about like, yeah, he was talking, Tom Donovan did one on the Glen Castle as well, like, yeah, this,
Yeah,
but yeah, look, you know, you had the War of Independence, then the Civil War, like, but they kind of cross over, like, you know what I
they
mean,
do.
from
They
several
do.
months.
You have the same names cropping up, and I can see why people made can mix up both of them. I had Tim Pat Coogan on myself, and I hope to have him on again in another 2 weeks. You know, that's Tim Pat. He wrote. He's one of our foremost historians. You know, these people are still relevant, their opinions and all, and he's still a fantastic conversationalist. You know, and these are the people we should be talking to, really. You know, about Irish history. You know, not some of the so-called modern historians, which I don't have much time for myself and them. I know about you. You know. And there's before we finish, wasn't there an article there in the Rue O'Donnell, was it?
Uh, Rowan O'Donnell, yeah,
Rue O'Donnell. He's a historian out in he lectures in history in the University of Limerick.
yeah, I was in the Limerick Leader. It was just an article, like a top Limerick academic is leading a campaign to stop the sale of Irish American Museum in the heart of New York. Like, we're reading about that article, like, and he's concerned that the American Irish History Society are proposing to sell the building in the Fifth Avenue.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, yeah, he said it's got a great Irish American collection. You know, and it's got the death mask of Robert Emmet.
that's right. I
You
was
know,
reading.
and the 1916 proclamation. There's a copy of it there.
There's
Um,
one of the original copies. One of the
one of the original copies. Yeah. You
is in
got
that
the
museum.
original letters from Thomas Francis Maher.
Yeah.
Original letters written by him. There's artifacts of Thomas Addis Emmet, Robert Emmet's brother. You
Oh
know, who
yeah. Wasn't he
was
the
attorney
governor? Was he attorney general? Was it?
attorney general in New York. He was a big name at the time. We must investigate him, like, and
We
find
must
out.
look him up for the next edition we'll do
Yeah.
now and talk about him.
Uh, yeah, but that was it really. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's just there might be a sale or something going on, and you know, there's people just, I guess, worried about the contents of what's going to happen. Yeah, of what's going to happen, the site, the building itself, and the contents. You know, so
True.
like, we'll find out what happens on that story anyway.
And before we finish, Martin, don't forget, listeners, to press the red button to become a subscriber of Lir Media TV on our YouTube channel, because we're looking for as many. We're looking for 1,000. We have 412 or something now, you know, which is fantastic. You know, we're looking for 1,000, so we're a bit greedy, but nevertheless, we think we'll get there. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like, we'll get up there, get beyond 1,000. Yeah, we have the number of videos required. Got anyway, like above the 4,000 hours, so that's great anyway. You know.
Yeah, we have well over that, and all the content, which is a testament to you and many like you and ourselves. All the content is generated in-house, which is fantastic, you know. And the main woman is out there in the other studio at the moment, beavering away. That's Mary Honan, you know. And she does an awful lot of work, as you know, behind the scenes as well, you know. And sometimes that can be hidden, you know. And but Martin, I suppose we'll close out this, will we? And
Yeah, we'll finish up for today, and we're back with more talk on men's health in the future.
okay, Martin, take care. See you again.
Okay, bye now.
Bye-bye. Bye.